Now, why African-American owned businesses are still a rarity in many neighborhoods, including minority communities. NewsHour economics correspondent Paul Salmon has been exploring that question, part of his ongoing reporting, Making Sense of Financial News.
Maggie Anderson, her two daughters, her husband John. Nice suburban Chicago neighborhood, upscale house, upscale life. And yet these successful business professionals with brand name MBAs felt guilty for years.
We thought we should be doing more, and we thought we should be doing stuff with the money that we made.
Things like what?
Make sure that whatever we do, it was with a black company, through a black family company, buy a product made from a black company, use black professionals, shop in black communities.
And thus, the empowerment experiment, chronicled in the recent book Our Black Year, buying strictly from black-owned businesses for 12 whole months. Starting out, the Andersons expected some problems shopping only at black-owned stores.
They'd be smaller, selection not as great, prices a little higher, maybe have to drive a little bit. We assumed there'd be probably about 20 dry cleaners that we could choose from, just in black pockets, not in Oak Park, where we live.
What they found? One black-owned dry cleaner in all of the Chicago area.
Hey, how you doing, Maggie?
About 2.5 miles from home, in a mostly African-American West Side neighborhood.
Years ago, it used to be a lot of black-owned businesses around, and funding just went down, and things just went kind of kaput after that, and the black-owned businesses just seemed to leave the area.
So how did you survive?
I've been in this location for about 4 years, and before then, my uncle owned this place for 20 years. And most of my survival came from contract business, where we couldn't, get the money from the neighborhood, or people come in and patronize the businesses in the neighborhood, due to the lack of jobs. We had to revert to contract businesses.
So that explains all those Army camouflage shirts or whatever it was that I saw.
That's the ROTC uniforms for the City of Chicago Public Schools.
Most money spent by African-American consumers, even in their neighborhood shops, goes to non-black business owners who seldom invest in or hire from the local community, something the Andersons linked directly to the 14% black unemployment rate and other economic inequities, and that they found the media failed ever to report.
Don't just say the black unemployment is 4 times that of whites. Say that black businesses only get 2% of the $1 trillion of black buying power. And then say that black businesses are the greatest private employer of black people. Then you might be able to say, wow, if there were more support of black businesses, if maybe a little more of that $1 trillion got to those businesses, unemployment wouldn't be so high.
They wanted to do something extreme enough that everyone, including their fellow members of the black upper middle class, would notice.
Most folks like us think that we are giving back to the community by living well. We're stereotype negators.
Is that true, that middle-class black folk think that just being middle class or upper middle class is enough?
I do think that is a prevailing sentiment. There's almost a pride, for lack of a better word, in being able to kind of disassociate yourself in the African-American community from the lower economic echelons in the community.
It's not a lack of caring. It's not that we don't care about what's going on in the communities that we've, for the most part, left. It's that we don't see a target anymore. There's nothing to go after. So that was really the point of the experiment.
Oh, perfect. Total was $12.
By month 3, the Andersons had found their dry cleaner and a black-owned grocery store and a black-owned gas station 40 miles away, all located in largely black neighborhoods.
We found a cool way to get gas. We would send that gas station our money, and the gas station owner would send us a gift card, and he was part of the BP franchise. So we got gas, food, and a dry cleaner. Everything else, we were just desperate and hopeful that something would pop up. And in the 3rd month, we got a general merchandise outlet, And in the 4th month, we finally found a place to buy clothes and shoes for our daughters.
In the meantime, they found a shop that described itself as a grocer, but fell somewhat short.
We thought it would be like kind of a small grocer where we can buy fresh meats and produce. There's nothing fresh in there, just canned goods, some frozen burritos, frozen pizza. So that was the first thing, like, wow, this place is terrible. And the people who live in this community have to put up with it.
Eventually, the Andersons found an actual full-service black-owned grocery store.
And there used to be lots of black grocers in America.
Thousands nationally, yes.
And now?
In January of 2009, there was one black grocer in the entire state of Illinois. One, that was it.
The Andersons enlisted John's alma mater, the Kellogg Business School, to survey the whole country.
We used to have 6,400 in the 1930s. We had 19 full-service grocery stores at the turn of the century. Now, those researchers at Kellogg who helped us with our study, they could only find evidence of three black-owned full-service grocery stores in all the United States of America.
So what happened to all those black-owned businesses? Competition from megastores like Star Market or Walmart is one answer. But a fuller answer may be integration, says Cornell economist Vicki Bogan.
Prior to desegregation, actually my parents are in that generation in which they weren't allowed to patronize certain kinds of restaurants. In that particular environment, if you were a black-owned restaurant, you were guaranteed a certain number of customers that didn't have any other option of eating in other establishments if they wanted to eat out.
John Anderson agrees, but adds one more troubling factor.
The white man's ice is colder.
Yes.
White man's ice is colder. What is it?
In the black community, there's a joke about how sometimes we feel like our goods and services are inferior. You know, like a psychosis, which is disturbing because I'm not aware that this exists in other ethnic communities.
It was the 1-2 punch of integration. Of course, integration was great, but economically, it had a deleterious impact on our community. The first punch was we were so happy to have the opportunity to shop at Woolworth and Sears that we felt like we was sticking it to somebody by going there. Hey, I'm going to spend all my money with you and show you that my money is just as green. Then the second punch was that those retailers started recruiting my husband and me. So when I'm coming up in the 70s, the big goal of any mama, any big mama, is for her daughter or her son to get a good job at a big white company. So our would-be entrepreneurs, our talented 10th, as we call them in our community, we flocked to corporate America. And they got all our money, and they got all our talent.
If there isn't much disagreement over why the black community lost its retail jobs, there's plenty over what to do about it. Cornell's Bogan makes 2 points. First, the key need is for more capital to be generated by and invested in the black community.
Just on a day-to-day basis, black businesses generally don't have the same access to capital, financial capital, even human capital, that other types of businesses do.
But the second point is that buying black won't make much of a difference, even if you do find black retailers, says Professor Bogan.
Even if you confine yourself to just purchasing from black merchants, where are those black merchants going to get their products? In today's global economy, it's likely that their suppliers are not going to be African American. They might not even be American.
But one business the Andersons found certainly is black-owned Covenant Bank, which also reinvests in the community. Board member Kim Jackson.
The percentage of dollars that go out of this community is far beyond most neighboring communities, and we definitely need to see that decreased. We can and have supported ourselves and sustained ourselves. We need to go back to that.
And Maggie Anderson's efforts do seem a step in that direction.
What percentage of your customers, would you guess, are like Maggie Anderson, coming here specifically to patronize a black business?
I'd say maybe 10% of my customers, you know, because of Maggie.
So before Maggie came here and wrote about you, what percentage of your customer base was here to patronize a black business?
I would say before, maybe 1%.
The Anderson effect, making a small dent in inner city Chicago, which needs all the economic revitalization it can get.